University of Nottingham. I work part-time with the RSC, and I'm also involved with the Creativity Collaborative and with the research that Pat and Liam are going to talk about as one of the items on the agenda today. So I'll nominate Liam.
Hi, I'm working with Pat and Chris on, I'm working specifically as a senior research fellow on a project looking at arts, or the arts, in primary schools all over England. So we're gathering lots of data at the minute, but that's my main role that I'm here to talk about today. And I will nominate Pat.
It's like we don't know anybody else. I'm obviously the type that Chris and Liam have talked about at the University of Nottingham, and you're going to hear from me in a minute. And I'm going to nominate Maria Narducci.
I've been already, so I'll nominate Sarah. Sarah Finn, I can't pronounce it.
Apologies, my computer was on the blank.
Hi. Hi, I work in Our Lady of Perpetual Succour in Bulwell. I'm the arts and art design tech lead in school, primary school. So yeah, I really enjoy these meetings because we find all sorts of things out, and very grateful that you put it in one place and we don't have to find it all. So yeah, lovely to meet you all. Thank you. I'll speak to Tracy Haslam.
Hello, hi, my name's Tracy Haslam. I'm at Milford. I'm in Clifton. We're involved with the Schools of Tomorrow project, also Art Network with Martha, looking forward to the art club, and our school is also involved with the creative collaboratives. I'm not the lead for that link, but as a school we're involved with that as well, so always looking for creative ideas in the primary school. Thank you. And I'll nominate, just looking at the, I don't really know many people here, so AE, is it Alice?
Hi everyone.
Hi Alice, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, I'm Alice Elsmore. I'm a performing arts lead at Welbeck Primary, and also we are leading the Creativity Collaboratives project at Welbeck with 12 lovely schools in Nottingham.
Brilliant. Could you just nominate the next person, please, Alice?
I will nominate Jackie Wilson. Hi Jackie, nice to see you.
Oh, your sound's not there, Jackie. Oh, whilst she figures out the sound, I'll let you know. Jackie is from Positively Empowered Kids, which is an amazing organisation doing loads about wellbeing. They've just set up a wellbeing hub in Arnold, and I'm sure you can write something in the chat, Jackie. And also is the lead for Vocalise, which is a democratic kind of youth voice platform. I'll just nominate Louise Reagan on Jackie's behalf.
Is my sound on?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. I didn't know if it was. Right. Okay. Apologies. So my name's Louise Reagan. I am at Robert Shaw Primary School. This link was just shared, and I'm not the art lead, and I'm not leading any projects in school about art, but I do love art, the arts. So I thought I would come along, but if I shouldn't be here, because you all seem to know each other, then you can tell me that I shouldn't be here, and I'll leave. But I lead RE in the school, but as I say, I've always been very interested in art and design, so and the arts generally. So I'm just looking for ideas really that I can use in my classroom and share with others in school.
Louise, you're very welcome, and it's perfect that you've come, and I love the artwork behind you. So That's great. Would you like to nominate the next person to introduce themselves?
I will, although I literally don't know anybody, and all I can see is initials, and I don't know who's been because I was a bit late. So,
Okay.
shall I nominate? Has MV been? I don't know who that is.
I think that might be me.
Oh no, this is Sarah. No, I know this. This is Sarah Balston, because I've just read in the chat. So I nominate Sarah.
Thank you. Yes, my name's Sarah Westfalster. I work at Nottingham Playhouse, and one of the things that I look after is something called Primary Partners, which is where we are delivering a bespoke arts relationship with 5 schools over 2 years.
Amazing.
I will nominate Chloe Arnold. Have you been?
Hello, no, I've not been. So I'm Chloe. I'm at Brocklewood Primary School in Bilborough. I am the arts lead, but don't know much about art, so I'm very thankful for this meeting. I nominate. Who's that been? Can't see anyone's name. Robin. I see Robin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Robin Tyler. I'm teacher at Woodlands Academy. We're a small special school. We teach primary and secondary. I'm not really an art lead, but I'm massively into getting any opportunities for our kids to get out into the community and visit some of the cultural rucksack stuff. So I thought I'd come along and see what was on offer. And I shall nominate. I don't know who hasn't been. Jane?
Hey all, I'm Jane Williams. I'm the Participation Director with New Perspectives Theatre Company based in Basford. And I'm here to promote our wares and have a natter with all the brilliant primaries. Currently we've got a postcard drama, which you'll probably recognise one of the characters here, which is based on Goose Fair. I'll nominate the fabulous Orla O'Connor.
Just unmute yourself, that's it.
There we go. Sorry, I wanted to take my headphones off because it being 3:30, it's like both my children have come from school, so it's very noisy with people getting snacks and getting changed. But it's really nice to see everyone. I really love these meetings. So it's so good to connect with teachers and school settings and see what's going on with other arts organisations. But my name's Orla and I'm the Artistic Director for Lit Theatre Company. We're a contemporary theatre company and we're a collective of artists and directors and writers. And we work a lot with schools running a bespoke arts award. And I nominate, really not great with teams, so I might have to ask Kathy. She might just nominate somebody else.
Is it Aaron from Robert Shaw?
Hello, my name is Aaron. Aaron, it's fine. I'm the deputy at Robert Shaw, which is a Transform Trust school. I'm here because I lead on curriculum, but I'm also interested to know what is happening to supplement our curriculum out in the city. And obviously, if there's anything free going on, we're always up for that.
Amazing. I'll help with the nominating. Hannah from the Music Hub. Hello.
Hi, yes, it's Hannah from the Music Hub. Just dropping in to say hello and answer any questions that anybody's got. Also talk to you perhaps if I have a few minutes about an exciting project that's just kicking off with us for transition for pupils moving from year 6 to year 7. So we've got a big event around that, which is going to be new for this year. So yeah, hopefully get some time to tell you about that.
Definitely will. We'll go on to our arts updates after we've all introduced ourselves. So just a few more. I think Lila, third.
Hello, I'm Lila. I work at Mellors Primary School. I'm a year 3 teacher and I'm also the arts lead. And I haven't been to one of these before, so I'm looking forward to hearing all about everything going on around the city. I think it's time that the children got to do some stuff outside of school again. So thank you for inviting me.
That's great, and I think you're on the agenda to share some experiences with us later on, so that's brilliant, thank you. Joanne.
Hello, I'm a bit dark. I'm the learning officer. I'm Jo from National Justice Museum, and we are the one-stop shop for all things crime and punishment in Nottingham. So we have the prison, the courtrooms, and the police station as well. So we have our core programme, but then we also do the Choice and the Consequences exhibition as well, which is our anti-knife crime exhibition, which at the moment we have free funded places. So if anyone's interested in that, I will put my email in the chat and things. So yes, so that's me. Can I nominate Elizabeth? Yes. Elizabeth Neathy. That's cheating. She's one of our tenants, so that's complete cheating. But
I was just thinking if it was the other way round, I was thinking I'll nominate Jo. So thank you. Hi everyone. I'm Elizabeth Neathy. I work for Culture Syndicates, which is a social enterprise. As Jo said, we are living at the National Justice Museum. Our focus is on employability. So our remit has predominantly been about graduate and postgraduate sector entry into cultural jobs, that we've been working very closely with Cathy on looking at young routes into cultural careers. So that's something that I'm really keen to continue the conversation with as many people in the room as possible. And I also have a project update which I'd like to share with everyone, if that's okay, Cathy. And I do need to leave by about 4:45 today, so I'll probably just sneak off, if that's okay.
Yeah. Can I ask Nafisa to introduce themselves?
Hi everyone, I'm a Masters in Education student at Nottingham Trent University, and I am a full-time student, so only 1 year. And Louise, I heard she said that she teaches at Robert Shaw Primary School, and I also used to go there for my primary. So yeah, thank you for having me. It's my very first time as well joining this event, so thank you so much.
That's great. I think we might have got through everybody. If there's anyone left that hasn't introduced themselves, speak now. Are we all here? I'm very sorry that Martin's struggling to reach us and join us, because he's obviously the guy that leads on the Cultural Rucksack on behalf of ChalleNGe and has been working really hard on all kinds of things and pulls this agenda together. So ordinarily he would be the one sort of chairing and introducing everyone. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that he can join us at some point during the meeting. Maria, I don't know if you could send him the link again or give him a quick call to check he's all right. That'd be great. So I think firstly we wanted to just do some quick roundups from our arts partners that are here today. So and obviously this session is being recorded so that we usually are able to put the meeting and people can watch it again. And lots of the things that you'll hear about will come through on e-news and in other ways, but it's brilliant to hear it from them personally about the things that are exciting at the moment. So I'm just going to go around and ask you to do a sort of quick 5 minutes each-ish, 3 to 5 minutes, so that everyone can make those connections with you and follow up after your little bits, your spiels. So can I firstly come to Jane from New Perspectives?
Hello, we're a theatre company, so we usually do live stuff, but at the moment we've got a postcard adventure for primary schools. It's also for families as well at home, but it's written by a mystery writer, so spoiler alert, that's me, in the guise of Goosey, our Goose Fair heroine, whatever. And so basically they receive, as a class, each child receives a postcard each. It's the same postcard, so they can all work off it together, but they can take it home. There's 6 postcards in the series, so you'll receive them all in one go, but you can pretend that the post delivery has come each day and do it over 6 days if you want to, or do it over 6 weeks. But they're beautifully illustrated, and there's a secret code within the illustration, but also in the wording there's a secret code to crack as well. And there's all kinds of things like stinky farts and stuff like that for them to have a little giggle about, because I'm a child anyway myself. We've got some really great feedback from our pilot schools that have been engaging in it, and also from families at home as well. So it works for any children that might be off with illness at the same time. It's about sort of literacy and imagery. There are QR QR codes for additional activities as well, which is crafty, acting, drama, sort of writery type activities, and it's all based on Goose Fair. So we're also rolling it out to different areas, so it's looking at your local heritage as well. So I won't take up tons of time, but that's what we've got available. It's about 130 quid, and you get a postcard per child for a series of 6, and there's loads of activities as well. We reckon it's about 12 hours of activity, so that's really exciting. But also, if you've not got anything sorted out for Shakespeare Week, we've got an online project which is Shakespeare, which gives away lots of secrets from Shakespeare, and there's a 15-minute condensed Macbeth film to watch, and there's all sorts of other activities that follow as well. So what I'll do is I'll leave my email address in the chat, and then you can just get in touch if you're interested in either. And we've probably got theatre stuff coming up, but not till later on in the year, so I'll probably tell you all about that at another one. So thank you so much, Kathy.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Jane. I know the postcards have been going down really well, so it's fabulous just to have heard you talk about it in development and then see it in action. It's great.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Can I ask Orla to give us an update?
Sorry, just take my headphones off. It's easier for me.
Oh, just to say, Martin's here. Martin, yay! Well done.
I'm in the bar.
Wonderful. Sorry, Orla. I was just relieved to see Martin. Carry on. Over to
No,
you.
that's all right. It's been one of those days that you're in the bar. That's so yeah, hi again, everyone. I did want to share a little film with you, but I don't know if that's possible for us to do that today.
Yeah, that's fine. Are you going to share your screen?
If you've got it, would you be able to share it? Just because Teams is not my friend.
Oh, yeah, sure. Hold on a moment. Sorry.
I'll just tell you a little bit about it before we show the film, because I think the film is a brilliant case study of the stuff that Lit Theatre's been doing in Bilborough with primary schools. So we receive funding through the Mighty Creatives to work in partnerships with schools in the area as part of the wider Bilborough Arts Festival. And the whole aim of it was to connect children with local artists to develop their artistic talents on the way to receiving their Arts Award, Discover. So that's it kind of in a nutshell, but this film captures some feedback from the young people and the impact that it had on them, and it has some feedback from a teacher as well. I don't know.
Oh, Orla, I've had too many emails from you lately. Let me just try and try them a different way. Hold on.
Well, we're coming to the end of the Arts Award delivery as part of the Bilborough Arts Festival, but one of the things that were really important about our partnerships with the schools was that they each approached the delivery in each setting was very different, and it was about building those relationships with the schools. So some of them wanted after school clubs, some of them wanted to target children in their schools, and they took them out and they would spend the afternoon with me or our other freelancers. And the freelancers that we worked with, who were artists in their own right, were also the Arts Award advisors. So while they were kind of exchanging skills, they could also collect the evidence that was needed for the Arts Award. So I think the Lit Theatre is about making sure that children have that time to learn about an art form and then reflect on it and then express what they've learned. And of course, our art form is theatre. But don't worry about the film, Kathy and Martin, that's fine. We can have a look at it another time.
Kathy, I've just put the link in.
I've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it. Can everyone see that? Is it coming up? Oh.
That's just me in slow-mo.
Can you see it? Maybe we'll send the link round then. Sorry
I'll
if
put the link in the
it's
chat, and I'll put my email in there as well. So thanks, guys. Okay. But we are rolling out that programme again. So we are interested in linking up with other schools, and what we can do as well is find possible funding streams with you actually, before we came onto this meeting, I just had an email from a secondary school to say that our funding's come through, so we're going to be doing a 12-week project with them. So always happy to talk about funding streams. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you, Orla. Can I come to Joanne next, please, from the National Justice Museum?
Hello. So like I said, with National Justice Museum, we are a one-stop shop for all things crime and punishment. So we offer half and full day sessions that can include doing courtroom workshops, so where you can put on a historical or contemporary trial, and then museum workshops as well, going around tours and things. We also have the City of Caves that we do tours around and activities to do with that. The two really sort of more big things that I wanted to mention today was, again, the choices and consequences. This is our anti-knife crime exhibition that was developed in partnership with the Ben Kinsella Trust. It's a 2-hour session where we teach young people about the choices of carrying a knife or being associated with someone who's doing that, and learning the consequences of that as well. But the other thing that has literally been signed off this week by our finance board is a 25% discount for schools that meet certain criteria. So I just want to share, I'll just check my email. So we are offering a 25% discount to schools fitting any one of the following criteria. Schools with a high percentage of free school meals, so 19% and above, schools with grade 4 Ofsted rating, or schools identified as being in the 10% highest areas of deprivation, according to the government indices of deprivation. So I just wanted to share that because that has literally been signed off this week. So if anyone is interested in signing in, interested in any visits and stuff, we are now able to offer that as well to some schools as well. So I'll put my email in the chat if anyone is interested in either of those things. Anything to do with crime and punishment, British values, that kind of thing is us.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we go to Hannah, please? The Music Hub.
Just clicking the button. It's finally kicked in. Nice to see you all, and nice to welcome people who haven't been with us before. It's great to have you here. Just to give you an overview of a couple of the things that are either back in a face-to-face format for either this year or 2022-23, because I know people are already planning, and also to give you an idea of a couple of things that are new. We've got our Great Orchestra experiment for primary schools, mainly for Year 4 pupils, coming up later this month. Also, area band celebration performances coming up at the in the middle of this month too. So if you work in a primary school, your music lead should have had information about both of these things, and all schools are very welcome to get involved in those kinds of events. We've also got the return of the residential, finally able to go and have a residential for Year 5 pupils. That'll be in September, so children who are Year 4 now are moving into Year 5 after the summer, and we're inviting people to come on a 2-day residential, 3 different opportunities to do that during 1 week. So there's a Monday, Tuesday camp, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 5 places for each school, and it's only £25 per child to come along. So it's going to be absolutely fantastic. We're really excited that that's going to be coming back again. The last time we did it was 2019, so it'll be lovely to be back over at Ilam Hall in Derbyshire. I think it's Derbyshire, might be Staffordshire. Anyway, it's over that way. Beautiful. Thank you. The other thing that we've got coming up is, and I'm particularly pleased to see that there are people here who not only represent individual schools, but also represent multi-academy trusts such as you, Martha. We've got a fantastic event coming up in the summer, which is going to be for Year 6 pupils. And what we're doing at the moment is putting together units of work for both Year 6 and Year 7 pupils based on the new model music curriculum and also the national curriculum, that will be an after SATs module for the Year 6 pupils. We're going to have some CPD for Year 6 teachers, because we understand that not every Year 6 teacher is a music specialist, and you'll be pleased to learn that one of those sessions is straight after Easter, but then there's another session straight after SAT, so that hopefully we'll be able to capture as many people as want to join in. And then that unit of work will focus on the piece Twist and Shout, which is actually a Key Stage 3 piece identified in the model music curriculum, but it's also a Music Hub favourite because we do that with our area bands as well. So it'll be a piece that's familiar in a number of different ways to a number of different people. This is all going to culminate in a big event on Monday, the 11th of July at the Albert Hall, where what we hope to have, and this, Martha, is where I hope that you can get involved and other people who represent secondary schools can get involved in coming along secondary schools offering workshops for the children who are going to be moving up to them in September, based on music and the arts and the offer that's going to be there ready for them in September, just to give the children an opportunity to meet their new teachers, their new people they'll be working with, but also just to sort of familiarise and take a little bit of the fear away and actually fill them full of excitement ready for the coming academic year. There'll be a big performance of Twist and Shout at that event as well, and we're hoping to run either 1 or 2 events depending on the take-up. So depending on how many secondary music leads or other teachers from the music department can come along and offer workshops, we'll offer either just an afternoon session for schools or morning and afternoon. We've got that facility to do both. So it's really exciting, and it's kind of one of those things which I hope will join a lot of the dots and enable us to really make sure that provision and progression for year 6 into year 7 is there, and it works, and it's something that the children can be really confident around. So yeah, very exciting stuff.
That's amazing. Thanks, Hannah. Can I go to Joanne? Oh, sorry, not Joanne. Jackie, have you got your sound sorted?
Have I? I don't know.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
You.
An exciting moment of the day. Just Teams doesn't like my PC. So yes, sorry about that earlier. I couldn't connect with my sound. So I'm Jackie. My organisation is Positively Empowered Kids. We're a social enterprise that are all about empowering children to not only grow positive mental health and wellbeing, but also unlocking potential. So a couple of things to share. Recently collaborated with through ChalleNGe Ops actually with Ignite on their Festival of Science and Curiosity, and we were on Knots TV with the Curiosity Show to share some work we've been doing in schools around resilience. So we have a resilience leader program, which is a train to share program to actually create leaders of year 5 and 6 around well-being, very interactively, very creative, to be able to understand themselves first and then actually take that out, teach the whole school about their brain, and that's what was on neuroscience stuff, and teach them techniques to manage those emotions. It's a whole school offer, so we work with teachers and parents too. So that's just something. What I'll do is I'll put a link to our resilience leader video because it's quite nice. You can have a little watch of that. Also, we have a youth voice in action project. Kathy mentioned it earlier when I had no sound. Vocalise is a digital democracy platform that it kind of almost replaces, or in fact it does, Youth Council, because we actually look at working with a group of children, a participation team, to train them up on a platform to be able to share ideas of how they want to improve their school, to make it a better place to be, listening to children's voices, their community as well. Yesterday we started in a school in Arnold actually, and it was quite interesting because there was one child that wanted a cultural day in the community of getting different people from different races and religions to bring in food and to share and come together. Amazing little idea. Another child came up with the idea of having a creative craft area in the playground. So these are ideas that are going to be put forward and voted on by kids, and then we're actually going to take action to make it happen with the school. That's a funded programme that we've had funding for, and we're applying for more funding at the moment. So happy to work with schools on applying for funding together and getting that to work, because it's brilliant little program. You can just get lots and lots of children and the whole school involved, because the participation team go and train the rest of the school, which is very exciting. And you might want to look out for it on Knots TV, because they're coming in to film in 2 schools next week, and so we can always send that link to you to have a little look. So yeah, that's us.
That's great. Thank you, Jackie. And I think we're going.
One more thing.
Oh, one more thing. Tell me.
Really quickly, 25th of September, and this is important, we are having our Positively Empowered Kids Festival at the racecourse, and so we want lots of art, crafts, performances, schools, kids to come along and to empower other kids. So again, get in touch about that, because we really want a lot of people, especially coming out of this pandemic, we want to really empower kids in many, many different ways. So I'll put my email address in for anybody that wants to connect.
Brilliant. Thank you. Elizabeth, a quick update from you.
Sorry, it just takes about 5 seconds to unmute. Two things. I think I've already mentioned the first one, the young routes into cultural careers. That's something that we are growing with a consortium of partners, including ChalleNGe, across the Midlands. And the focus at the moment is to look at information that we can gather about how young people gain information about cultural careers. So we're working with organisations like the Mighty Creatives, Birmingham Education Partnership and the Creative Alliance. And what we want to do is to start to look at how we can do more research, so we can create a test model that we can then get funded potentially through Arts Council. So what I'd like to be able to do is just to keep everybody informed, because I think we're all engaging with young people. And when I say young people, I do include primaries as well, very much so, because it is about the start of a career that could be at a very young age that children may not be exposed to. So I will be coming back and sharing information about this project, and hopefully can engage more of you in these conversations going forward. The other element or other project I just want to share with you is that Culture Syndicates is now working with St Barnabas Cathedral, Nottingham's Roman Catholic Cathedral on the Derby Road. I was pleasantly surprised to find out that it was designed by Augustus Pugin, and before the pandemic they had started to do some work to try and uncover the original paintwork, the paint design by Pugin. They didn't actually have any success, but they do know that it's there. They have a folio of about five folios of letters that Pugin wrote about the design of the cathedral. And we've been asked to get involved because they want to look at the conservation and restoration of the actual design, the original paintwork. So part of the project will be to develop internships for up and coming paint conservators, but equally the project wants to engage schools within the Nottingham area to come and explore the cathedral, look at how the project is developing, and be involved in activities that will be developed. The target audience is particularly schools that haven't engaged with the cathedral or have a sort of focus on special educational needs. So if there's anybody in the room that thinks that this project might be of interest for their children, then I'd be really happy to hear from you. The project at the moment is in the development stage, so we're working as part of a team to put in a phase 1 application to the National Lottery for the end of May. So we're thinking about ideas that can go into that application that will form the development phase and then on to the delivery phase. So it is going to be at least a 3-year project. So it would be really good to build up relationships with local schools to actually see how they can engage with the conservation, the science, but also the history of the cathedral. So what I'll do, I'll put my details in the chat function, and then you can contact me at any time you'd like to find out more. That's brilliant. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I think that's all of the arts partners that are here that have given their update. So I'd like to just come back to Martin really, so that Martin can introduce the next lot.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Because I've got...
Yeah,
great. Okay. Not quite sure, there's a bit of noise going on. Yeah, well, okay, and it's great to see such a variety of people here, and just a spread of colleagues from schools and arts provider backgrounds, and some input externally now, which I think is going to be really interesting. So there's two elements to the first part of the next bit, and many of you know Christine Hall, who's been supporting the work around the Cultural Rucksack really from its inception, and probably before that, if that makes sense. And her colleague Pat Thompson have done an enormous amount of work through Nottingham University on arts engagement and arts education, what an arts-rich school might look like, for example. And as part of that work, I can see Liam looking at me there, they've been doing a phenomenal amount of case studies that support the research work that's that's been carried out. So I've asked both, well, it's me, I think, and Liam, just give us a short presentation on some of the work that they're doing in the RAPS project, some of the case studies. And then I've also got, is it Lila from, hello there, who last minute, because I went to see Amanda the other day, just to give a little outline of some of the work that's going on in some of our schools, because I think that's, I want to get over the next few meetings, get more of that coming into these meetings, so that you all get a feel for what's happening elsewhere. And that will support some of the work I'm doing as well, and getting a feeling for what you're all doing through some of the other cultural rucksack work I'm doing, and I'll update you on that in just a minute. That's enough for me for now. So if I can hand over to Pat and Liam, just to give you initially an outline of the RAPS project. So have you got a presentation or something?
Yeah, I have, and I'm just about to try and work out how to share.
Pat's there, yes, great.
I'm fairly used to doing this because this is your teaching.
There we are, it's looking good.
Just stabilising your screens now.
Yeah.
Hope you can all hear me properly.
There you are. We're there.
Yeah, I am. I'm just trying to get it onto display mode. There it is. There it is. Now your screens are completely taken up. Okay, so I'm doing the presentation on behalf of Chris and Liam. What you'll see throughout the quick run through the RAPS project are a number of photos that Liam's taken. So if any of you are interested in any of the particular things that that there are in the photos, Liam will be able to give you any more details. So what are we doing? So the RAPS project, which is researching arts-rich primary schools, follows on from a project we did in secondary schools. And I think Martin distributed to you a list of what an arts-rich school was, and that largely came from our secondary school project. But obviously primary schools are really different, and so we really wanted to do actually a bigger and better project with primary schools, and got some funding from the Freelands Foundation. And it's a 3-year project, and it's in 3 stages. We're in the second stage now, and the first stage was a survey of 76 arts-rich schools, and some of them also made some arts maps for us. And those arts-rich schools were, you know, were a kind of combination of asking the Youth Bridge organisations for nominations, of looking at who had Platinum Arts Mark, and talking to people who knew what was going on, other people who knew what was going on in schools. And we got a short list of about 180 odd schools, and of that 180 who were all invited to fill out the survey, 76 responded, and I'm going to show you some of those results as we go through. Out of that 76, we selected 40 that we were going to do case studies of, and Liam's writing about all of those schools as he visits them in the blog, and the URL for the blog, our project blog, will be at the end of the slides. And we're going into those schools not only with their survey information and stuff we've learned about them on the web and in other documents, but we're doing interviews, taking photographs and looking at the kind of documents that they have about the school. And we're in the middle of that at the moment. And next year we're going to choose 20 of those 40 schools, and we're going to then find another 20 like schools, or schools in the same family as those 20, and we're going to compare them. So we're going to try and look at what happens in arts-rich schools for teachers and students as compared to what happens in ordinary schools. That's good. Okay, so the survey, the 76 schools in the survey were a kind of fair spread of the primary schools across the country, and the 40 that we've chosen are also distributed all around the country. We haven't got a lot of schools in London, but we have got the majority of schools, all around, including in the East Midlands. So let me now talk a little bit about what it means to be an arts-rich school, and I'm going to talk about not only, you know, what we already know from the secondary schools, but I'm going to talk about some of the things that are emerging from the case study visits. So one of the key things about the arts-rich school that we always notice straight away is that the school kind of identifies itself as being about the arts. That's not all they're concerned with, but they understand themselves to be intimately kind of involved with arts education. And actually the children can talk about that as well, and they do talk about that as well, what it actually means to go to the school and engage in a range of activities which always include the arts. And that's because what's happening in the school is that there's a commitment to a broad and balanced curriculum, and it's not just lip service. It's kind of like there really is a broad and balanced curriculum in which an arts education is seen as an entitlement for all of the children in the school. And what that means is that there's a kind of understanding of what students get from, what kids get from engaging in the arts, that it brings a whole range of benefits to do with their cognitive development, to do with what they know how to do with skills development, that it develops them as persons, it builds particular kinds of disciplinary knowledges to do with, you know, music and drama and dance and art and design. It also helps students develop socially together. They develop a lot of kind of interpersonal as well as intrapersonal practices, and they also become, it also supports a kind of growing vocational awareness of what people do in the school. So in the school, people understand that this is not a kind of just about a broad and balanced curriculum because somebody else says so, but actually the arts have a whole lot of learning which is specific to the arts and makes a specific contribution to the overall work that the school is doing in all of these areas. So what does this actually look like? What do they do? Well, in our 76 schools, what we could see is that according to the survey, all of them taught art and music. 100% of them taught art and music to all the kids. A lot of them, a very substantial majority, taught design technology, creative writing, and quite a lot of them also taught drama. Dance was very high, and then it gets much kind of less. So there's some work on textiles, there's less on, about half of them did work on ceramics, and then you can see film and photography and other kind of arts activities are much lower on the list. But you can see that art and music, D&T, creative writing, dance, drama, you know, the things you'd expect to see are being taught. All of those arts subjects are being taught to children. They're not all being taught for the whole year. So some of them are taught for part of the year, and I'm just going to quickly, I mean, you're not going to have time to look at this, but the key thing I think is that not all of the schools, 90% of the schools actually taught art and music for the whole year. You know, it was 51% for drama in Key Stage 1, taught it for the whole year. So when we say that schools were teaching all of these subjects, it didn't necessarily mean they were teaching them for the whole year. Some of those subjects were kind of for part of the year. And what did that part of the year look like? If you just look visually at this rather than try and read what it is, the dark blue is the all year. The orange is 2 terms, the yellow is half a term, and the light blue is occasionally. So you can see here that music and art are still the kind of subjects which are being taught in most of the schools, a vast majority of schools, for the whole year, with a few of them, that few that we know about, doing it for 2 terms or 1 term. And when we get to dance, we can see that that's taught much more intermittently than drama is, for example. And we can see, you know, that even in this survey of 76, there were a couple of schools that are actually teaching film for the whole year. That's in Key Stage 1. Key Stage 2 is slightly different, as you'd probably expect. You know, creative writing's taught more to Key Stage 2 students for the whole year than it is for Key Stage 1. You probably don't need to know that, other than to know that there are obviously, you know, in these schools, there are different ways of organising the arts curriculum, but you can see which subjects are dominant. Now, how many of those schools had specialist facilities? As we're still looking at the 76 schools. Well, only 68% of them had specialist music facilities, and only, you know, nearly 2/3 of them had specialist art facilities. I think the good news about that is that it actually means that you don't need to have specialist facilities in order to be an arts-rich school. You don't need specialist facilities in order to, you know, teach ceramics, for example. It is possible to do ceramics without having a hugely dedicated space to it. But that's a kind of interesting look for us at what kind of facilities there are in these arts-rich schools. And in terms of specialist teachers, again, they didn't all have specialist teachers either. So 80% of them had specialist music teacher, and only 50% of them had a specialist art teacher. So again, it's quite possible to engage students in music and art in particular, dance and in drama, with some specialist support and classroom teachers also doing a lot of the work. So we've noticed 3 different ways. Now, I'm just going to say that this is kind of early. We're only halfway through the case studies, so we've only been in 20 schools so far. But we have noticed there are different patterns for the way that the arts are taught in these schools. So the first mode is when specialist teachers and partner organisations teach all the arts. And the second mode is when a specialist teacher or an arts lead does some of the specialist teaching, but primarily
Pat, sorry, you've muted yourself. Sorry to interrupt. Your sound's gone.
I didn't actually do that.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened because I didn't actually do it. But I've also lost Teams.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let me try again. I hate Teams. God, I hate Teams. Apologies. I don't know when I lost you.
Literally just a moment ago. Yeah.
Okay.
I jumped in.
Okay. So we were doing the 3 patterns.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you can see there's these two kind of major patterns. One is where specialist teachers and partners do all the work, and the other is where a specialist teacher and art lead works with classroom teachers to do the arts, or cover the arts subjects that they're offering. And the third one is an arts integration model, and we've seen a kind of couple of near versions of this, but it's a North American model actually, where all the staff have both an arts and a primary teaching qualification. And you see that much more in the US and in Canada, but there are a couple of schools here that are moving quite strongly in that direction. What we also saw was that in the school visits we've been doing is that the arts are often combined with another school priority. So the arts might work together with a program on environmental sustainability, or on human rights, or on creativity. So in other words, they're not seen as kind of separate silos, but the school priorities are actually putting the arts together with other kind of strategies, so that you get kind of something greater when you combine the two than you do if you actually try and do them separately. We also saw that the arts are really strongly, in a number of the schools we've been in, are very strongly connected with the kind of local place that they're in. The children are often doing activities which relate to the place, which draw on what they actually know about their place and allow them to go out and find out what other people know about the place. I was just looking a couple of days ago at one of the schools which is doing some work with weaving at the moment, because they're in Yorkshire. There's been a very strong textile industry. They're studying the Industrial Revolution, and it's a kind of integrated approach, but it's also drawing on local expertise in the area, people who have been involved in the textiles industry. But we can sort of see this synergy between various ways between the kind of local place and the arts programs in a lot of the schools. And this little diagram is in fact from a school in Liverpool. We've seen something quite similar in a couple of other schools where kids are actually encouraged to get out and find out, map what there is in their area. The other thing that we can see is that very often the arts are a kind of vehicle for making connections with other local organisations, not necessarily arts organisations, but with other organisations. So here is an example in PSAT of a school partnering with a church to using sculpture to explore feelings about grief and loss. And that's just, I think, an example of the way in which the arts become a kind of glue, if you like, that starts to hold the school together with other organisations that there are in their community. The arts are often combined with, particular events, important events in the schools. So they're used as often a primary way to learn about particular and important events. I mean, here, this is obviously Black History Month. But there are lots of examples of the arts being, one of the key ways to kind of get into some of these often quite contentious and difficult subjects, because the arts allow children to explore, to do research, to ask questions, to talk with each other, and to, do that kind of those sort of social and intellectual development at the same time together. We can see that a lot of the arts-rich schools do a lot of after-school activities. So in the arts, so we can see about 3/4 of them actually offer art after school. Nearly the same number offer dance. So it's clear that more dance is being offered after school than is actually being offered in school in the arts-rich schools. Music is offered after school as well. And this is not necessarily seen as kind of extracurricular, but actually extending what it is that the school does. So these programs are seen as complementary and important, and not just a kind of add-on that might keep the kids occupied until their parents come to pick them up after school. And one of the kind of areas that we've also seen, I'm just going through a kind of list of things that we've noticed so far. A lot of the schools have also connected their arts education programs with their work on student leadership and citizenship, with their kind of pupil voice programs. And we've been into schools where there are arts champions, where there are arts ambassadors. We went into one school where there was a minister for the arts, and who was part of the kind of school parliament. And we can see here on the left a particular example where the arts counsellors have actually initiated a kind of extracurricular, a lunchtime activity actually, that the kids wanted to do. And I think in these schools it's very often, the arts provide, are often an area that kids choose to get some activity going in because they enjoy them. Another one of the characteristics of the arts-rich school is that they do devote a fair bit of time to professional development, regular arts professional development for staff. You can see there's nearly 75% of them think it's very important. Some of that is internal, so it might be coming from the specialist arts lead, it might be coming from a local secondary school, it might be coming from a partner organisation. But, it is something that the schools think is really important in order to be able to keep developing their commitment to the broad and balanced curriculum. And for that reason, in part, I think all of the schools had a number of partnerships, not just with one cultural arts one cultural organisation, but often with quite a lot. These are often long-term relationships. They're not project-based. They actually extend to over a long period of time. So there'll be, you know, a series of activities that will be going on between the cultural organisations and the school. So one of the key things about the school is they've moved beyond the kind of single project, and it's much more the kind of relationship that you'd see, for example, in Nottingham with the Royal Shakespeare Company program, for example. It's that kind of sustained engagement, which often involves teacher professional development as well as the activities with children. Many of the schools did have artists in residence as well, or visiting artists who came into the school, and they found a range of interesting ways to support that, not only through funding, but sometimes there were artists or community members who were artists who were prepared to come in and work in the school. And I think we saw one school that was providing workshop space for artists in exchange for them running professional development and activities with the students. I'm nearly finished, you know, and all of the arts-rich schools obviously got their kids out into places as much as was possible, given, you know, particularly in the last couple of years, COVID, given expense, etc. But nevertheless, they thought that engaging, particularly with, you know, some of the not only the key kind of national organisations, but also the local organisations as well, was really important. And it was part of that process of helping kids understand that the arts are not just a school subject, but the arts are something that people do in their ordinary everyday lives as you know, as well, and that it's kind of meaningful. And finally, just to say that the arts-rich schools generally, I think, had found the arts to be really important during the pandemic. We can see here an amphitheatre that one school had built in order to be able to continue to do performance-based lessons outside, and they saw that it was important going into this kind of recovery period. I mean, it's a bit hard to say we're recovering when we still seem to be in it, but it's kind of important in the ongoing period that we're in now, post lots of lockdowns. It was important for kids for all kinds of reasons, but very often to do with not only the kind of healing that comes through the arts and its contribution to personal well-being, but also that it's a way for kids to express themselves and communicate ideas, and that's really important when they're coming back to school and as part of the process of re-engaging with the school. So that's it in a nutshell. That's the RAPS project. That's our URL. Liam is blogging regularly about the schools that we're going into, so there's quite a lot of little stories about schools there, and as we you know, do the project, you'll see some of our research reports up there as well. So thank you. You're on mute, Martin.
There we go. Yeah, so just saying, really, thanks ever so much. That's all, you know, more than I was expecting. It was fantastic. Just gives everybody, I think, a flavour of what you're doing. I'm just going to have just said that please go on the website and you know, sign up for the newsletters. I get regular ones coming in about the latest set of case studies that Liam's putting together. Has anyone got any questions for Pat before I move on to anybody want to say anything? I mean, when will the report come out, Pat? No pressure.
Well, we won't finish the project until probably the end of the next school year.
Right.
I think you would expect to see, I think, some kind of report about these 40 case studies, case study visits that we've done. So I'm not going to say exactly when, but I think Ideally, you know, by the beginning of the next school year, you'd expect to see something.
Something good, an early indicator. Well, it's sort of linked to that, and then sort of, as I said, I persuaded Amanda to get later on, just to give us a flavour of what's happening in one of our primaries. As I say, hopefully over the next few meetings, I can see faces here, people, yes, you must come and tell us something about your school, but I put Leda in the right, I'll put her on the spot now. So if you just want to outline what arts, culture, music means in Mellors, let's hear it, because I've been walked around the other day. I was very impressed.
Well, it was really nice actually to hear Pat's presentation, because I see a lot of what Mellors do reflected in her definition of an arts-rich school. So that was quite nice to sort of see that and know that we are doing things. But I guess fundamentally the arts, you know, playing music, playing an instrument, art, performance, sort of are all key to our underlying ethos at Mellors. Something Amanda likes to say is that our children go on and leave us, and they go on to break the glass ceilings that have been put in place for them. And we think that the arts are just another tool sort of in their belt to help them do those things. Because the reality is that not all of our children will thrive sort of academically or traditionally, maybe with maths and English, and the arts offers them something else to be good at, something else to have a go at. And then way to express themselves as well. So it sort of just underpins everything we do. Really,
yeah. I mean, I certainly saw it. Obviously, there was music going on with Catherine the other day as well, doing some singing, which was great to see. I haven't seen her for a long time. I mean, Hannah will know Catherine quite well. And again, just seeing there's a space for music. And like you, I was ticking off that list, which Pat was talking about. I'll go through some of that in a minute, because I pulled some of that off the website. And as part of the work that we're doing for Cultural Rucksack, I'm going to do a couple of little tiny short 2-page reports on various elements of arts and culture in the city, involving city schools and city providers. And one of those bits of work is really a summary of what Pat's just said. It's, you know, here's what does an arts-rich school look like? And I guess in some way you can also perhaps use it as you perhaps looking at a little bit of a tick list. How are we getting on?
Definitely. It's useful because we're doing the arts mark at the moment. So I've worked with Martha on that. So it's very useful to sort of hear those things that should be going on in an arts-rich school and sort of mentally go, yeah, oh, good, right about that, write the note there.
Yeah, feel good about
that.
Yeah, it's just good to triangulate it, because again, those of you who are doing ArtSmart will be going through some of that process anyway, because there's a clear list there, and that relates closely to what Pat was talking about. But just to hear it from somebody else who's coming at it from a research point of view just gives that feeling, that sort of nice warm feeling, I hope, for many of you, because I know many of your schools that are sitting in front of me are doing a lot of that. And I think diving into ArtSmart just is that sort of final tick and reassurance that you're on the right road. Mm-hmm. So giving a bit of a plug there, Martha, is that all right? Okay, anything else that you to tell us about? I mean, if not, I shall move on to...
Well, I haven't done a presentation or anything, but I just thought I would share maybe like a couple of things that I find really help us become arts rich. Yeah. You asked me about the curriculum in an email, you know, how the curriculum support us, and I personally find, I'm arts lead, so I find the NST networks really, really useful for things like framework, assessment, progression, just meeting other people who are in the same boat as you, being able to compare and bounce ideas off each other is always really useful to me. We have a really supportive SLT who are always willing to try new things and let us sort of go. If we feel like a direction will work, they're very, you know, they're more than happy to hand us the reins and say, give it a go, see what happens, feedback to us. They're sort of very willing to let us take ownership over our subjects. And over the past 2-3 years, we've sort of built quite a strong and varied curriculum. So we've worked collaboratively as a team, as a teaching staff really, and come up with ideas together to ensure that the curriculum's varied, diverse, make sure everything's covered. So I think it helps when you're able, you know, as speaking as a class teacher, I've never gone to ask Amanda about something and she said, oh no, don't try that. It's always have a go, see what works, find out. You're the one on the ground, so you just, you know, make sure you feedback, take ownership of your classroom, take ownership of the subject.
Yeah, and that highlights the importance of, you know, leadership and allowing you to do those sorts of things. And I know Pat and Chris would say, yeah, leadership is key, as it is in many things, to making these things happen. So yeah, vitally important, and there's a few leaders out there, so thank you, all of those. Very handy. Anything else you want to finish off with, or shall I?
Well, just you were asking as well about sort of external support. Obviously, you've met Catherine, you know Catherine, so I think at Mellors we're quite good at finding things in the community, getting people in, getting ourselves out. So that's why this is really useful to know what else is out there what else is out there that we can take advantage of, that we can go and do that we haven't already done yet. So we've had things like the Voice 21 Oracy project to help build strong and confident speakers. We work with Primary Gallery on Ickleston Road on a couple of projects that are quite long standing now, so we've had a good relationship with them. We work with the Redder Theatre Group and have a good relationship with them as well, which is even more important now that we've got the focus provision for the deaf as part of Mellors, so that sort of elevates that. But other than that, we just try and build relationships and make sure it's not, I can't remember who was saying it before, but not just a sort of like something we do and then we move on for it. Okay, so what can we do next? Okay, what can you come back and do next, so that there's a real partnership between
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on again. And highlighting from Pat's report, the work that Chris has done, it's those long-term relationships that really reap the benefits over time. And having our colleagues here who are some of the providers in the city, just getting those messages back, so that's going into their thinking, and I know that is happening. And this forum, we bring both together, I think, is really important too, because colleagues out in schools get to hear what's going on, and our providers get to say what's happening out there. They can hopefully then begin to model their provision on what's happening in the schools, so that becomes more relevant as well as long term, I hope. So the whole thing, although we're perhaps just starting our journey, I see this very much at the beginning, and I'd love to do this face to face. One day, please, we have meetings face to face would be wonderful. Well, that's brilliant. That's just the sort of thing that if I can perhaps just leap on. So I'm just going to give a very quick update of what I've been looking at in terms of the cultural rucksack in the last couple of months, and it I think resonates well with what we've just heard. So I think I can share a slide screen, hopefully, if I go like that. Right. Now, hopefully, folks can see that. If I can go to full screen as well. Go on, you can do it. Yes. Right. A quick. Is that all right, Kathy? Yeah. Just quick update of what we're doing. Yeah. What we're doing so far. So the pledge and sign up, we're getting lots of take up on that. One of the things we're looking at developing next is what happens now you've signed up. And I'll perhaps come back to that later on in this, if I may. The other thing that's really excited myself, I think Maria and Kathy, is the development of this cultural booklet. We were talking about a cultural map of Nottingham, because a lot of you are asking, where is all that provision that we can take advantage of, and what is it? Well, we're looking at putting that together in a book, which will have that core provision that our professional arts colleagues out there have available for you, and you've heard some of that today, but it's going to be that provision that's available to you year in, year out. Not necessarily solid, but something you can guarantee to plan to engage with, which we felt was important. That's being built up now. That's quite a big piece of work, I have to say. Maria's working very hard on that. We're then looking at developing, so we've got a map then, a couple of scales, a city centre map with provision, and then the wider Nottingham map, and then other bits and pieces in, which I'll come on to in just a minute. I'm beginning to wind some consultations, so I'm seeing a few head teachers now, which has been very interesting. I'll pull some reports and feedback from that together. Maybe it's our next meeting. And as I've mentioned already there about linking with arts, researching arts in primary schools. Curriculum models I'll come on to in just a minute as well, because that mirrors some of the work again that Pat was talking about, and just a little bit about getting out and about once more, because I think now that people are moving beyond the tightening that COVID had upon us and beginning to get out a little bit more, just to look at some of the options and things that are available to you there. And many of us are ring rusty, so just to pick up a few points about getting out and about. So just as a little reminder where we sort of got to last time, we've pulled together a framework which I'll probably go in the booklet, I think, that links curriculum areas to providers to their core model in just a summary format. And then we're going to be building that up now over time. So just to let you know about that. I think I might look at developing a little bit more detail on this, but you can see there some of the providers in red, and then what they're doing in terms of developing those curriculum areas in the right hand side. So as I say, more on that as we build up the booklet. In terms of curriculum planning, I've spent quite a bit of time looking at many of your curriculums and curriculums from outside of Nottingham. So Nottingham's been my focus, and most of you, but not all. NST was mentioned, very strong, but that of course doesn't cover all our schools in the city. So I thought about how we could perhaps share and develop some of the work that goes on the NST Arts network. And I've done that by looking at some curriculum ladders, which again will be available either in the booklet or online. The areas that they cover, again, it just really reflects what Pat was talking about. You know, you all cover things like drawing, painting, sculpture, printmaking, textile and collage. It's interesting to look at the percentage of time that that you spend on some of that, because obviously what you say, and when you look at the arts progression ladders, it doesn't always give an idea of how much time is spent on them, even though they might take up a lot of space on the curriculum ladder, as we'll see. Art and technology I've looked at, and also that element of knowledge about the art and artists, that comes out quite strongly in some of the curriculum ladders, which I've pulled together. Look at that in just a minute. The other way of looking at it about curriculum expectation. So some people do curriculum ladders around skills, some around outcomes, some around expectation. So there's lots of different ways of pulling together these curriculum ladders and progression within the arts. I haven't done any work yet on music, DT across curricula. I think we're very strong in music in the city. I just always say, Hannah, let us know what but you've got good already, fantastic frameworks there for music in the city. And I'm just going to look quickly at how the next stage is, once you've done that, how is that music then, how's the art, embedded throughout and within the curriculum? So just a very quick flick through. We'll be getting this stuff out hopefully on the website shortly. So this is an example, just on one bit, where I've pulled together about 12 different curriculum ladders, all with the same type of approach. And you can see here, I've just picked up on the drawing one, got year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I'll try and look at the early years separately. But it just shows that progression. Some of you will be familiar with that, but that isn't what every school does. Schools do it differently. It's been interesting talking to heads about that as well, because that's been something that they're particularly interested in. Where I've underlined bits in these, those provide links to areas or websites where you can actually get activities linked to that particular element. So where you got continue to familiarise yourself with sketchbook, drawing exercises, etc. Click on that link, and there's some activities that would support that. And I've taken that from a couple of sources. I'll mention those sources in just a minute. So that's one. This focuses on sort of technique and skills. This is where I've got some of the information from. Some of you may be familiar with this, Access Arts, and they've got a really interesting arts progression plan. You have to pay to access some of the material, but not all of it. So just as information, we'll get these slides out to you as well. The other really interesting source I found was Durham University as well, but you'd have to pay for that material. But again, we can put some sources on this as well. So the skills one, this is another way of presenting a progression ladder. This is more like ideas and levels. And in these ladders, people are asking questions. You know, can pupils draw using a pencil and crayon? Or they might be asking, from the pupil's perspective, I can explore charcoal as a tool, and then developing that as they go along. So you can see quite clearly there at the top of the drawing ones, they got development of different types of pencil I can use, or I can use those. So that's another type of progression ladder, which we'll have available, and you can look at them. You might have these in place already, but you might want to add a little bit more to your own. I don't know. And then the third way of looking at it, some people do, is just like a plan. So they're saying here, so by the end of year 1, we would expect pupils to, or the end of year 2, we would expect pupils to express thoughts and feelings about pieces of artwork. So again, I thought that was quite interesting, and that's often then put alongside what knowledge and experience do we expect them to have as a counter to that. So there's 3 styles of arts progression planning and ladders, if you like, which we will make available to you, and then you can just use them as you like. But I've at the bottom of each one, I've actually highlighted all the curriculum ladders that I referenced in pulling them together. Most of them are from Nottingham, but not all. because there's some interesting work from beyond Nottingham. So I hope that will be of interest to some of you. And I just put this up again because I just love this. This is Walter Hall's progression in terms of the use of artists throughout their curriculum. I'm starting to use that within our own Greenwood Academy Trust academies is something that I thought was really useful. And again, it's on their website, so you can always go to Walter Hall's and dig that out if you like. I just thought it's quite neat. I know Chloe's here as well, who's taken on the mantle of Brocklewood. I've shown this before, but one of the key things that's within their plan, in addition to this is the top part, which we've shown you before. I mean, underneath it there, you can see they're the key drivers at each point in their curriculum year are different things, but it is art. So this is a really good example of how art is integrated within their curriculum and how it works from each particular term in this case. I'll come back to Chloe, give her a chance to speak in a minute, but yeah, that I find really interesting as well. Then a couple of papers I've written. One is going to be about arts, high quality arts and cultural education, to which I've raided the work of Pat and Chris with relentlessly, and have been so these are the sort of things that it's a 2-page article, and I think this is perhaps probably more the secondary element to it, but this is your tick list in a way, which we were talking about. I've just see the typo on it. So we've got the whys, the benefits of it on the left-hand side there, and then what an arts-rich school bullet points might look like. And this is part of a little 2-page article I've written, which will go up either in the handbook or into the website. And then also, what does effective teaching look like as well, which I thought was quite interesting. This will be part of the same article. Just things there which you're probably looking through quickly now. Do I do this? Do we do this within our arts teaching and learning? So I thought that was quite neat, and that will be part of the support material we will be providing as part of the cultural rucksack. And then the other element that Kathy was talking about the other was where do you all go and what do you do? Well, luckily in Nottingham, most of you use something called Evolve. And I've had a chat with Andy Smith, who's the outdoor advisor, and we've got some data from Evolve just to see where you all go and what you do when you go out and about. So I've written another little article around planning your arts and cultural visits in Nottingham, and that will be again available. And this is where you tend to go as schools. These are the sorts of things you tend to do. So I've categorised that this is for 2019, the last academic year that we had, if you like, inverted commas, what used to be a normal period in terms of those visits. And I saw on Pat's slide as well, the arts-rich school, lots of visits, a lot of things going out and about, outdoor learning. So going to arts organisations, about 200 visits, heritage 125. Going into Nottingham itself, and either just walking around or going to various locations locally. Sports activities, very high. Education, that's often visiting universities, for example, places of higher and further education. SOPs, oh golly. Shops and restaurants are very popular. See how many schools go out to the restaurant, over 220 visits to restaurants. Which was interesting, and visits to religious centres as well. So that's the sort of breadth. And if I just delve into the arts column here, those are the places, 201 visits. If you times that by about 30, you'll get an idea of how many children, if not more, go to those. But this is where you are going in terms of your arts contacts. That are reported on Evolve. It doesn't mean you capture everything on Evolve, but a lot of, and I just thought that was quite interesting to look at that. There might be other places you're going to as well. But if we get to know about those, we can build those into the handbook on top of that. And then what do you do? Well, the sort of things you do when you go on visits, I've highlighted here. AIM hires a secondary thing for engaging in furthering higher education. So these are the reasons that people are going out. So art is only about it only covers 2% of the reason for people going out and about. Drama and English, about 8% of those visits include that. Music, 5.2. A lot of personal development. PE dominates, as you might imagine. I mean, this will include things like school swimming, bless. But you can see the range of reasons that people say they're doing a visit, and I'll put on Evolve again, just to give you a context of where the arts fit in to the city. And then this is just a thing, just so as part of the article, I've highlighted a little bit more about what you need to do in terms of planning. Right, I'm going to come out. If I can escape out of this, this is the bit I always get worried about. Let's press escape, see if that happens. Yeah. And if I go on here, great. So
there's just a little cross that lets you stop.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't find it. Anyway, hopefully, yeah. So that's some of the work that we're doing just to support and pin things. So I hope it will be of use. It ties in really well what's been said already, and will add value, I hope, to some of the resourcing for those who perhaps don't get access to that networking opportunity elsewhere. Right, I've represented on question time. Any thoughts about that?
Martin, could you try and find the little X so you're not sharing the screen anymore?
Oh, right, it's not doing it.
I think it'll be. I think it's just it's within the Teams.
Yeah, I've got it. My Teams didn't work. Is that better now?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Yeah, sorry about that. I thought I'd done it. Yeah, so without the slides then. Any thoughts, questions? And I guess part of it is also Martha.
Really useful stuff, Martin. And I'm just wondering whether you're going to do similar kind of progression work for the other art forms as well. Is that the plan?
Yeah, I'm feeling weak at the knees.
I know,
yes.
Because there's that's really useful. And we're doing a lot of work with the NST Art Network as an example on, a whole variety of progression plans. So a couple of things I just wanted to raise, which is that we're looking at assessment in the arts. Oh, that's an interesting one, because it's not always objective, but there's also, just to say, a kind of bubbling sort of sense that knowledge in terms of Ofsted work is really important. So a recent experience in a school where the Ofsted inspector said, but what do they know? What do children know? It's not necessarily what they can do or what they are involved with, but what do they actually know? So there's a real push, as you're aware, but maybe arts partners might not be so aware of a kind of knowledge-rich curriculum at the moment.
At the moment.
It might all change. So I guess there's that, but also kind of, interest in other areas of progression, because whilst music and art, as Pat really pointed out, are taught sort of across the board, actually without some really useful baseline information like the stuff you've provided for the art in drama and dance, it can sometimes be quite difficult for schools to kind of even know what they should be doing if there isn't a specialist there.
Yeah. Would people like us to do that? Is that something that would be welcomed by schools? I mean, and this was interesting from the provider's perspective. You may not have seen the curriculum ladders before, and where how that's there. So again, it's feeding information two ways, isn't it? So, dance ladders. Anybody? No, you're all right with that. Good. I think the music is pretty well nailed from what I've seen, but we can just pull some stuff together and have some examples certainly available on our cultural website. I'm hoping that stuff I've done now can go on there. It's very much draft, but it's also there for you to pick a mix as well. Pick bits you like and or add to what you've got already is another thing. But yeah, it was an interesting task doing that. Kathy, was that just a hand going down or hand going up?
No, it was a question, but then I looked at the time and realised it's.
I know.
So I wanted to stop. But I also was interested just to hear from Liam whether this sort of area of curriculum ladders and progression things has felt important when you've been going around doing your case studies and meeting lots of schools. Has it been something that's kind of helped teachers across the whole school kind of come together on something in the planning?
Yes, I mean, it's something that we're definitely interested in, and it's interesting to see the diversity of approach and the snake-like picture that Martin put up. I've seen that repeatedly, not just with artists, but with books, but art based around books, I guess. And so different types of curriculum, different approaches, teachers constructing their own curriculum from scratch, especially around drama, interestingly. and also teachers all around the country that are quite willing to share some of their ideas.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing is building networks across all these cities in England. You know, some very innovative stuff, some really well researched stuff.
Yeah.
But equally, I'm in dialogue with the arts leads and the curriculum leads, and they are, you know, to an extent willing to share, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot available anyway, because schools should be putting the curriculum on the website. So it's been easy for me these days to just draw that down and start work, really. But there's a lot of it out there. It's just making sense of it, so we can start.
I think there's quite a lot from this meeting today that we'd want to kind of gather and share on the ChalleNGe website. So
absolutely,
within the rucksack pages of the ChalleNGe website, we'll definitely add the links and add. I mean, Pat's just adding in the chat. There are various papers coming from Ofsted at the moment. Pat, you want to mention?
Which would be great.
Anything to do with?
I mean, they are producing papers for all subject areas. So, you know, and they produced, I think one of the early ones was about maths, and it got pretty solidly bollocked by a whole range of people for a whole range of reasons. I've seen a draft of art and design, and it was shown to a number of people, I think, in the field, and it's gone quiet because I think there was similarly quite a lot of concerns about what was in it. Yeah, and it's really difficult, I think, to, you know, if you're being and I think the truth is they're being told that these papers have got to stress cognitive load and arts richness and the current set of things, and they're actually finding it quite difficult, I think.
Yeah, definitely sounds like we need to help each other then and share as much as we can.
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do as Cultural Rucksack, to bring you all together to help do that sharing. Sharing, caring organisation. How about that?
Thank you so much, everybody, because it is our time is up, but it's been such an amazing hour and a half. It's been really, really fascinating and just fabulous to hear from everybody and have the opportunity to come together like this. Please do check out the training page of the ChalleNGe website as well, because we share the kinds of CPD that our arts organisations are putting on, also the things that the Mighty Creatives are doing. I know on the 17th of March there's a wellbeing session at 4 o'clock that some of you may be interested in, run by Joe Stockdale, who's just put out a paper around wellbeing. And there's all sorts of things on there, but just keep in touch with us, won't you? Just quickly, I'll also share with you that we have an operations group for ChalleNGe, and the next meeting is in person at NTU, and you're welcome to come. If there are any teachers that want to come along to the operations group meeting, it'd be really lovely to have a bit more education representation in those meetings. It's the majority of people are the participation directors and education leads in arts organisations, and Martha comes as our stalwart education pod. But it'd be brilliant to have more of you. So please come along if you'd like to. I'll send you the link and information on that. So yes, great to see you all, and thanks so much, as always, for your time and energy, for all you do every day.
I would say I'm going to the bar, but I'm there already. So good luck, folks.
Hope you all have a lovely, lovely evening.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.